What's going on, sports fans? Once again, it's K-Stu the GOAT for Vernon Speak Sports. Mostly talking about Auburn football and the rest of the SEC. I want to give a shout out to my fearless and true gang YouTube. I want y'all to say it with me at the same time. War Eagle got some great news out of Eugene, Oregon a couple of weeks ago. Jim Leavitt decides to leave the program and pursue other things. They, got a nice little settlement going on with him. And the biggest question, I saw this a few weeks ago, and my biggest question was not so much the fact that he was leaving, which was not really my concern. My concern was, or my interest, I'm not going to say my concern, but my interest was who replaces Jim Leavitt. Now, Jim Leavitt, if you look at his defenses on film, are very predicated with the 3-3-5 set, which is very important because in the Pac-12, if you run a 4-4 or like a 3-4, you're going to get torched. You know what I'm saying? So Jim Leavitt's form of defense at Oregon was very effective. And one thing about it, they did a great job of recruiting the type of personnel that you absolutely need to, be effective with this type of defense. So my biggest concern was, who would actually take on this job. And, at first, news outlets said, well, maybe they'll look in-house, and try to pick someone in-house, but they did what I think is a smart thing. They looked elsewhere. They looked at a guy who had this type of game experience. He was actually a linebacker at Boise State in 2004, that team that kind of tried to lobby for a position in the BCS championship, kind of similar to what UCF did a couple of years ago, but ironically, they lost to Louisville in the bowl game 44-41. That none other than Andy Avalos. I really like this guy. I'm going to tell you why I like this guy. He played the position. He played the position in this type of defense. Because it's I'm telling y'all, man, when you talk about these air raid spread type offenses from the Pac-12 and from the WAC and those Western conferences, those things are very hard to defend. That's why you see a lot of games where they turn out to be 63 to 41 and all that other stuff, like basketball type outcomes, because it's just hard to defend that stuff. And they've come up with defenses, the variations of defenses that help to try to combat this stuff. And I think they did a great job of going out and getting Andy Avalos, a very up-and-coming coordinator in college football. I think he's well deserving of the position. Now, one thing I like about Andy is the fact that he was out at Boise State, and Boise State just doesn't have access to a lot of resources. I mean, when I look at the recruiting classes from the last few years, I'm talking like 4-star really at best. I'm talking about 4 stars like a home run recruit at a school like Boise State. And the crazy part about it is Boise State would have like 56, 64 recruiting classes, but would be the top in the WAC. So that just kind of shows the access of talent that those schools have out there. And for him to be able to actually pull off having that type of talent and still be competitive in some form, like Boise State went 10-3 last year, and competed, they kind of struggled a little bit against Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State likes to air that thing out too, but they're a lot more power-based, and I think, Boise State kind of struggled a little bit with that. But then when you look at him coming to Oregon, who just had one of the best recruiting classes that they ever had, being able to pick up on Kylan Thibodeau, man, I saw this guy on film. I'm glad Auburn doesn't have to play this guy 2 years and play Oregon 2 years in a row. Like these guys are going to be good real soon. All right. So I think this is a huge hire, honestly, for Oregon. A very good hire and very complimentary to what they already have in place. They're already run. When you look at Boise State on defense and you look at Oregon on defense, it's the same defense. The only difference is Oregon's just got more talent, and they got more talent coming in. Okay. Now, based on what Oregon lost, yeah, they lost a lot of talent on defense, but they got a lot of guys in this recruiting class that will really help them out in getting back on track defensively. Obviously, offensively, got Justin Herbert coming back. I really like the way this guy pushes the ball down the football field, and he has abilities to kind of create some imbalance with his ability to run the football as well. So we're going to look at this. Spring practice for the Oregon Ducks starts next week. So it's perfect timing for them to pull off getting Andy Avalos, getting him acclimated to some things right before the spring. You don't want to go too far in. You don't want to go into the spring at all not having a defensive coordinator. So them being able to ease Andy Avalos in right before spring practice starts. No changes in philosophy. The only thing you have is a great football coach that just has more resources. And probably he better get a raise too, because he was making about $350,000 at Boise State. I'm thinking he gonna easy $500,000. Come on, pay the man. This guy's about to be coaching one of the strongest teams in America. Once again, it's K2 to go for Vernon Speaks Sports, mostly talking about Auburn football and the rest of the SEC. Want to give a shout out to my fearless and true gang. Like, comment, and subscribe. Want to give a shout out to all of the Oregon fans that I've been able to connect with here on YouTube. Man, you guys are an excellent fan base. Beautiful Autzen Stadium. Great atmosphere up there in Oregon. Really look forward to this ball game in Arlington, Texas. Whenever Auburn plays Pac-12 teams, it's always a great event. Like, comment, and subscribe. You all take care. And again, War Eagle.